Hi there. This is the second of the videos about the human reproductive system. I already did the one on the male reproductive system, but I just started on this page so that you know what it looked like in case you were trying to dig through your stuff. The first page you need to do on your own. This is a hand-in. Okay, you can go to CK12 and use our class code, or you can just, frankly, you can just Google CK12 male reproductive system. It'll take you to the page, or you can go here. Or you can go on Brightspace and get a copy of this, and then you can click on the link. I think the link is there too. Okay, so there's lots of ways to get there. So you need to do this page, including watching the video. That's one of the crash course videos. It's really good. Answer it all. Okay, and then there is a video already where we labeled the diagrams, and I talked about what PSA is. Today, we're going to do the female reproductive system. So same plan. Go to CK12 or this, or Brightspace, answer the questions. Okay. And the part that isn't there is the diagrams. So you have an exam coming up, and there will be some male and female diagrams on it. So I wanted to do this with you so that you do really well on your test. Okay, so the female reproductive system, the biggest problem that students seem to have is telling the difference between the bladder and the uterus. Okay, so the bladder is where your urine stays, and it's big and kind of empty, whereas unless there's a baby in there, there's not much going on in the uterus. So number one is uterus. I guess if you call it womb on the exam, I won't call it wrong, but let's go sciencey, right? Scientific, so let's do uterus. Okay, number two is the opening to it. Is the cervix. Right? When babies are being born, they talk about the cervix is dilated, and then you talk about how big it is. Okay, so that is the opening. Number three over here is the vagina. And that is how the sperm get up to the uterus. So the sperm have to come in here, and they go up through here, and usually the egg gets fertilized up here in this area. Okay. Number four is urethra. Okay, that's where the urine comes out. And you can see in a female, I think the urethra is like a couple inches long. It's not very long, which explains why females tend to get more urinary tract infections than guys do. In a male, the urethra to get up to the bladder is like, I think, twice as long. So it's very uncommon for males to get bladder infections. However, it's usually quite scary when they do, because they don't know what's going on. Ladies, most of us, be honest, you know what the symptoms of a bladder infection are, and you know what to do about it. Guys, it's very foreign to them. Anyway, we'll leave that alone. That's urethra. So number five is the bladder. Number six is the ovary. And number seven, I have to write it from down here because I can't, oh no. This fallopian tubes. All right, so the egg comes out of the ovary, travels down the fallopian tubes into the uterus. If it is fertilized on the way there, or when it gets into the uterus, there's a baby. If not, it's shed during menstruation. All right, so sideways, the front picture. I'm sorry, I giggle when I look at this. It always makes me think of a moose. All right, so number one and actually number 9 over there, they're both fallopian tubes. And I will talk about them in a minute when I talk about forms of birth control. Now, down here is the fimbriae. I had to look it up, and I wrote it on there beforehand because I can never remember. Basically, there's these little funky fingers, and they move back and forth, and that's how the egg, which comes out of the ovary, gets in there. So it's a little hard to tell from the picture. So I'm going to label this side an egg, and over here an ovary. On a test, I'd accept both, and I'd probably mark them right if you put ovary on both sides or eggs on both sides. It's a little hard to. I was trying to point to one of the little dots here and this to the entire thing, but that's kind of hard to tell. All right, number 4 is the uterus. Okay. 5 is the vagina. Number 6 is the cervix. Again, that's the opening. Number 7, I put it on there because I always spelled endometrium wrong. Endometrium is the lining of the uterus, and that's what grows and is shed every month with menstruation. All right, so ta-da, there is your diagrams. Talking about forms of female birth control. All right, well, like I said, with male, first one is abstinence. It's 100% effective. It's just, if you don't have sex, you're not going to get pregnant. That's pretty straightforward. A permanent form of birth control is tubal ligation. Now, that's a very fancy way, what's usually called getting your tubes tied. And what they do, I'm going to use the bottom picture, is they will come in and they will cut and they will tie here and there. And what that does is it prevents the egg from getting to the uterus. No egg, no pregnancy. Okay, it's a permanent form. It can be reversed, but if I get it right, I think the fallopian tubes are like the thickness of a strand of spaghetti. And if it gets cut and then they try and put it back together, there's often scarring. So a lot of times it's really hard for the egg to get through anyway. But it is permanent and, well, obviously pretty effective. And then I thought, well, we should talk about the other forms of female birth control. And there's a lot. So hold on, I'm going to stop share and I'm going to take you to a website to just show you how many there are. Whoops, that's not the page I want. Let me try that again. So sorry. Share screen, basic, this screen. There we go. Okay, so I just Googled it and I went to Planned Parenthood and I thought, well, these people are going to know what's going on. And what's really cool is they actually have you choices: best preventing pregnancy, easy to use, help with your periods, prevent STDs, doctor or nurse required, less or no hormones. You can pick, but there are 18 different methods. There's probably more than that, but they said 18. So if you want low maintenance, you can do a birth control implant. It says it's good for 5 years, or an IUD, intrauterine device that gets put right into the uterus. And oh, wait, learn more. Oh, what do we got? All right, I donate today. No. All right. Oh, there's even a video here. How long is it? Well, basically what happens is that's implanted in the uterus and it prevents pregnancies. Let me go back. Okay, you can get a birth control shot every 3 months. Okay, a birth control vaginal ring. You got a patch. You have birth control pills. In the 1960s, that was like, oh my goodness, that's so old, so long ago. That was a huge deal. That was a huge deal that women could control their periods and could control whether or not they're having babies. I mean, it was way more effective than a lot of other things. And then we have condoms, and we have internal condoms or female condoms, diaphragms, control sponge, cervical cap, spermicide. And if you want to do lifestyle, you can do fertility awareness. You can do with withdrawal, breastfeeding, outer course and abstinence. Oh wait, there's still more. Oh yes, and sterilization and vasectomy. So there's a lot more forms of female birth control than there is male birth control. And you should probably know a couple of them. I mean, I think the most common one is the pill, but I don't know a lot about this kind of modern stuff. So anyway, make sure you know at least 1 or 2 forms of female birth control. End of video. Have a spectacular day.